Welcome to the Music Combine, the State of the Union, week of Christmas. If you guys noticed, we had an encore performance this week with Lindsay Medina, our good friend over at Veeps. She's always awesome. We do a lot of ongoing stuff with her, but was the reason we pulled that episode out. Also, the State of the Union is going to be a little different. We're not going to talk about music business this week. We're going to talk about planning your business.
Which has your music,
which has everything to do with music. In reality, if you want to do it for a business, hardy horror. But we really feel like, being that there's not a lot of music news out there, I think this week is a great week to kind of focus on just being. Say that again.
Taking stock.
Oh yeah, taking stock in you. Your efficiency, how what's the word I'm looking for? How
productivity,
accountable you are to yourself, your goals. How productive are you when you actually execute stuff? I think all those things are really important. I don't think enough people cover it. They're always like, well, market this, market that, market this, market that. And Greg sent me a great video today from Adam Ivy, and there was one thing I really took away from it. I think we should kind of start here. Is that when you get up in the morning and you are the full-time musician, especially during this time of COVID and the pandemic, that was lovely. I snorted in the freaking thing. But hey, it's live TV, folks, or YouTube.
Can't get around.
But are you being proactive, or are you being reactive when you work on your stuff? And this is a habit that took me a long time in business in general to develop. It's a muscle like anything else, and we're going to talk about habits more so than anything else, and in the version of productivity and how you schedule your day. So, with that said, Greg, how do you start your day? Let's start there.
Essentially, you basically, I would on a Sunday today, like it's a good day to take stock on this. I write down, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I just put like a line down the middle of the book that I have here as a good example. And I basically,
and if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you won't see this. So go to our YouTube channel, go check it out.
Yeah, exactly. Music Combine now, YouTube. And it's just basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I make it very simple. And what I learned was to just put down.
Actually, can you hold that up to the camera? Do you mind, or is there too much going on with it that you don't want people to see?
Well, I mean, I'm just showing any day randomly. So it's all not now. Yeah. So
it's just all. Okay, there we go. It's a little. Okay. So, yep. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Go for it again, because it's on me.
Okay. Talk. Yeah. So essentially, I write down a couple things that need to get done. The week before that on here, if I can just get the 80/20s, my monthly goals, or my weekly goals, my monthly goals, my yearly goals. And a lot of it's redundant. It's a lot goes over and over again. So because you may not be done with, let's just say, you're doing email campaigns, right? And you got to send out a certain amount of email campaigns. You don't know exactly which one you're going to be changing to be a follow-up campaign for an original campaign. So you just piggyback off of things, and you just make it easy by putting like bold points. So, meeting at 12, make sure that, content goes out at, before I wake up, I schedule the content for the week. Or as much as I can. And then what do I have going on that is really important for that day? That's going to probably carry over into the other days too. So I don't get overwhelmed by what I need to do, because all I need to do is put it in bullet points. And then the next day, if I'm not done with it, it just carries over to the next day. I know that week that I need these certain tasks done, because I'm not going to move ahead if I don't get these certain tasks done. So then there's reminders, if you have your little calendar, you just put little reminders there that make you accountable for getting that thing done, that specific task that you need to get done. So we'll use it for being a musician, because that's what this is about. Just make sure that I get an hour of practice in or more. Make sure that I read for 20 minutes to an hour more, as long as I have a daily goal to hit for reading. Making sure that that I made a certain amount of calls that the people I was supposed to call, and making sure that my content is basically engaging for the week, for the music combine, let's say. So we schedule content around the show. So whatever that show's about. So Lindsay Medina is about more live streaming and being able to monetize your live show performance by doing the actual live streams. So we would put content around live streaming, and that's always going to be something that we're going to be putting content around. But just as an example, it's a hypothetical. If you're in a band, it's more of like, okay, I'm going to put a drum video out this week. Okay, I'm going to put the behind the scenes footage out. I'm going to put basically what I'm using right within that video. And et cetera, et cetera. It could be anything really, just apply to you what you're doing in your band, or what you don't do that you need to get done. So it's a combination of those things. And what about you? I mean, everybody's different, but in the same point, you're planning something, so you have some type of goal to hit for the week.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's the appointment with myself on a Sunday.
Right. Okay. So that's really cool, because
that's where it starts.
Because it's, if you don't have an appointment with yourself, then you can't take stock what you did that week and what you need to do for next week. Yeah.
And what I do personally at the beginning of the year, and this is a quarterly thing, is I write a big frame 90-day business plan of things I want to accomplish.
That's cool.
So like when I wake up in the morning, and this might sound a little trivial to some people, but when I wake up in the morning, the first thing I do is read that business plan.
Yeah. Right.
Out loud to myself.
So
that sounds nuts. That sounds crazy. But the thing is it reaffirms those 90-day goals. And then, and the appointment with myself for the week, we review those goals to make sure we're on track. And then I plan out what the week's going to look like, and what the initiatives need to get done each day and needs to be maintained. And the thing is that for me and Greg, I mean, we run a lot of different situations business-wise. Mm-hmm. So I have my financial planning business. Mm-hmm. I have my work with the combine, whether that's getting new guests, meeting new people. I always give enough time. I give about 2 hours a day to trying to create new contacts or new networking relationships to benefit the combine or to benefit business in general. I do some venture capital raising for some companies. So there's time that has to be put into that.
And then just outreach and just being able to conduct new business where the filling the pipeline up. Yeah,
exactly. And everything's a pipeline.
Yeah,
I think early in and I think it's the same thing in music. I don't think one wash the other. And I think the music business is far different than any other business. And us dealing with EJ, right? Me managing him and talking to his mom the other day, she goes, I'm a really smart person. I said, yeah, but you're not music business smart. And it's not, and Dana's got a doctorate and everything, engineering degree. And I think she has a doctorate. Mm-hmm. If I misspoke on that, it's my fault, but extremely smart woman, does some major things during this coronavirus pandemic. And, I was like, yeah, it's just like, and I told the story of an artist I managed a few years ago that I was doing business management for. And the girls were adults. The mom was, the financier, as most parents are with kids' careers in this situation.
Yep.
And, I will say this, when I've worked with big stars where parents are involved and they let go and let the management did what they needed to do, things went great.
Yeah.
The second they step in and think they know better, and can't get out of their own goddamn way, they're the worst situation possible, and that you're eventually going to quit or this is going to fail.
Well,
so Evan's situation, his parents are a nice balance of both, where very supportive of the kid, but definitely trust my opinion on how we're going to move forward. So my point being is not to get off, but the thing is all that stuff has to be organized. We're months out from a release. And I make sure that every day we're doing something to proliferate that release, essentially.
And I'll tap into this really quick. What kind of the time that you're putting towards the activities now? Okay, we can say what we're writing down, but a lot of times what happens is we get overwhelmed, right?
Yeah.
By what we have to get done because we're not really good at it. So this is when it might serve you well to go and find other talent out there to help you fulfill what you need. Now, it doesn't cost a lot of money to do that. So for me, I know how to do Facebook ads. I'm really good at them. I basically put together a plan of what I want that ad to look like, and then I have a virtual assistant that has to convey back to me exactly what I need them to do. If they don't convey back to me what I need them to do, I know they didn't listen or hear what I'm saying, so I'm not going to use that person. However, what you're able to do is if I could just tell somebody to follow a formula for me and they do it for me, that takes my time and allows me to develop more creative content and be able to close more deals and such and create more assets that are going to be working for me right now as I talk to you on this podcast. So, there's a thing where we have to make a screencast. A screencast would be this. It would be a video that goes out to prospects, cold outreach, that talks about marketing and how they could be better. They could do better on their niche and how they could basically be an authority in their space. And it's like a prospecting, email, right? It's a sequence, but that video is made via like a Zoom platform, but it's called screencast. I film that and now I put that in and I put it out in a sequence of emails and now it's going out for me. And when somebody clicks on that video, it's very captivating because it's niched down to exactly what that person, what I'm prospecting for. Now I'm taking this and I'm applying what I do in business to everything because it's applicable to everything. So that allows me to leverage my time much better and just engage in activities like making a podcast and like speaking to you live right now. And now I have that going out so I could just see what the results are going to be in the morning. Who opened what? Who's seeing what? Is this data coming in? Is this, what else can I calibrate to make this more effective? So focusing on being more of a practitioner instead of just really living in the moment and just shooting from the hip, right? Because if you shoot for the hip, you're really going half cocked all the time. And there's nothing wrong with inspired action, which will happen day to day. If you have an inspired thought and you're like, oh, I should call this person because, oh, wow, yeah, that's right. Great. That's going to allow you to free up your mind for better thoughts to be able to take inspired action because you planned your week out better or your month or your 90-day plan, etc.
I think also daily too is super important. And I think it's the thing that people don't.
Well, they should have an objective.
Yeah. Well, they have an objective throughout the week, but I think daily you have to change tack sometimes because it doesn't always work out the way you want it to. Or there's more things that come up that could actually benefit you that you can strike gold on. I mean, I'm a big proponent of after I brush my teeth at night that I sit there for about a half hour to an hour and I write out again in a to-do list of what needs to get added to stuff tomorrow. And it's always ever changing. Time. Yeah, calibrate my time better. And it's always ever changing. And
it's just something we wanted to go over with you guys on this episode, just because it's something that's not talked about a lot, that I see in more of the music marketing and the podcasts out there, is time management. So like Adam Ivy also has a video. It's like the 20-day challenge, right? It's a 20-day challenge of you putting out a video of a little snippet of your behind the scenes, something that you're doing, reading something inspiring, and then practicing your music, and then everything that you need, all the ingredients to be able to perform the habit of being successful. So when we talk about planning out your day, your week, your month, your 90-day, quarterly, it's a lot of the same things over and over again, but they're changing because as you're putting forth that work, you're able to revise this in real time. And if you never put in that work, you would have nothing really to revise. So it's really good to be able to have some type of reference point, right? Where you're able to be like, okay, I said I was going to do this, and my stuff just folds into the next week and the next week and the next week, but stuff is getting done, So, whether that be you're overwhelmed because you don't know what kind of content you should be putting out, it's a different story, but it's really not that hard. If you're a musician out there and you're listening, you just put out stuff about you and what you like, and it's not that hard. You don't make it so hard. It doesn't have to be so difficult, but at the same point, be like, okay, this week or this month or this quarter, I'm going to put out and I'm going to do an ad. I'm going to do a Facebook ad to get more fans, outreach, to get people to opt into my music, and I'm gonna really follow the formula to put my single out right. And that's something that's obtainable. It's completely very realistic, and I think that a lot of us out there, and especially when you're in this situation, what's going on right now, you can feel stuck. And if you start writing things down and not typing them on your phone, right? Because we talked about this, Mike. Typing them on your phone is one thing, that's cool, but it's not when you put there's a phenomenon that happens when you put the pen to the paper. And this is taught in, personal development and like self-development classes. But I'm going to make it easy for you. There's a phenomenon that goes, it like literally gets stuck in your subconscious mind. It really starts happening. It makes you think, when you're just going throughout your day, it reminds you because you actually put that pen to paper, that hand to paper with the pen, instead of just typing it, because there's an energy that takes place there that it's inexplicable, but it really does. Like, and then the other thing is, I have a list, right, of my goals and everything. And what I do is this is time management too, because it helps you really put things in perspective. Your week and your month and your quarter and whatever is a list of your goals, and just review it. Like, look at it, read it a couple times a day, especially when you wake up, especially before you go to bed. And those are the most important times. And what happens is that sticks in your head like throughout the day, and you're like, I got to get this done. Like, it keeps nagging. Like,
and to your point, that's why I like the business plan. If it's your goals are written out in a plan, you actually have action backed up behind them, because I feel like if people just read their goals as a list, it's almost like they're hoping.
Yeah,
so that's like, you have some kind of action behind it. So if you are going to write a list, that's great. You don't want to write a whole plan, but my suggestion would be in that situation to put what the action item is next to it.
Yep. Well, there's input and output, right? The input is the time you're going to be putting into it. The time really is really important. The sectioned off, blocked off time that with no interference, like no from your phone or anything. And how much is going to be able to be put into, how many contacts you're going to be able to put into your system. And the output is like how many you're actually sending out and how much time you're actually dedicating towards that time block that you put that for that input. You're working out, good for mind, keeps you fresh, keeps you on point.
There's a planner I just bought that's on its way, and I can't show it to you because it's not here yet, but it came from the Planned Paper Company, and my good buddy Samir Chavez was the one who turned me on to this. Andy Frisella, who owns First Form supplements, and he's not a music guy at all, but he has one of the most successful supplement companies in the world. And Samir's wife is a sponsor of First Form, or is sponsored by First Form. And Andy Frisella's wife has a company called the Planned Paper Company, and it's really designed for entrepreneurs of goals, needs, and the planner is awesome. It lets you do all that stuff. It has your goals, your plans, your daily things. So I'm excited to use this thing this year.
Yeah, I think people are really attached to their digital devices, and they don't realize how important it is to write down stuff. And doesn't mean
I think they're great. I'm the guy who started planning everything in Apple Notes,
and that's okay because
but there's a problem with that. Is the thing is that your phone's great to look through, but you're distracted by so much other shit on it.
Yeah, where your planner, specifically your planner,
is planner, and that's it. Yeah. And to me, for the longest time, I had basically said to friends who said, you should, I was trying to align with, well, you really should do it like this. No, I know better. I'm going to do it in my phone. I don't write well. Every fucking excuse under the sun.
Yeah.
Just get it done.
It's only you're seeing it. Nobody else is seeing it, but it also keeps you.
No one else is seeing it.
At the end of the week, it's awesome to open up and see like all that you've been doing. And like, it's like, you can really keep track of it. There's just, it keeps you on point. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse. But your time should be spent, if you have a job, which most of you do, you want to get something done, especially when it comes to the music and how much time it does take to actually do stuff like this. You want to make every moment count. So if you're able to write this thing down and, track your time better, schedule your stuff better, it keeps you accountable. And then you see it written down and you can't ignore it. It's like, damn, I need to get that done. However, if you don't get it done one day, you push it to the next, that's great. But if you keep pushing the same thing and you're not getting it done, just get it done, because you're going to keep writing it down, and that's what's going to make you want to get it done more than likely.
I think also too, as you guys, if you decide to challenge yourself and develop these habits, I was watching Jesse Itzler's I was listening to Jesse Itzler's podcast on BYLR radio. And he was saying, like, if you have, or maybe it was an Instagram post, if you have, say, one habit you develop each month throughout the year, by the end of the year, you'll have 12 new world-class habits of how you treat things.
Right.
Yeah, depending on what those are. Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Talk to me real quick.
Yeah.
You got something, you got a booger in the back cave, bro. I'm sorry. I cannot not.
How long there?
No, I just noticed it. Like, just noticed it between this frame and the last one.
After you, I'm like, hello? That was definitely a booger. Plan that better, Greg. Jesus. I should have wrote that down in my planner.
Put saline in nose.
Oh, man. Before I came on the show,
live, dude. What are you gonna do?
I love it. I'll embrace it.
No,
I'll embrace it. So yeah, didn't plan for that. That's for sure.
Killing me small.
What do we have coming up?
Hey,
we have something we've got to talk about that before the end.
We're gonna do this week. We might have a vignette on Wednesday where it's happy hour with P King.
Okay.
I talked to him today. He said we can put it out.
Great.
If I get to it. And then because I have a few projects I gotta do VOs for the next.
Write it down in your planner.
Right to when it gets here.
Right.
No, I'm gonna try to get to it for Wednesday. If not, it might be something we put out the week after before we start releasing new episodes. But this week we're gonna do an encore release of the Roadie Roundtable. You guys loved it. We loved it. It's an awesome episode. And can we congratulate our good friend? No, I don't know if I can say that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know if Neil M. sang and his.
Oh, I don't know, but he big thing.
It was Mandalorian. Yeah, worked on the Mandalorian. The finale.
Yeah,
when he was on that show, when we were broadcasting that show, he was working on the Mandalorian. So he couldn't talk about it. And he never breached his NDA or anything. But he just told me last week that he was like, "Oh yeah," he goes, "I was working on the Mandalorian."
So now we can talk about it, kind of.
Yeah, he can talk about it. I guess.
Kind of. Yeah, Neil was a photographer, but he was on Roadie Roundtable, and his work's exquisite. And he's actually, we always say this, but he photographed the last live Slayer show that we know of anyway, before all this shit happened. Real cool guy. He's just one of the roadies on there. But that's a great episode because it's just behind the people behind the big show scene in rock and metal that are making the shows happen, and like how important their goals are to get that show up and running and have a successful night. It's huge. It's a really, I'm a musician in a band, so to see it from their perspective, it's pretty inspiring, and it tugged at my heartstrings a lot. And then there's a lot of ball busting on it, which is great because Mike knows all these guys, so it makes it that much funnier. And then I guess that, we're posting that because we have a lot of good stuff coming for the new year, and we know attention spans aren't really during the holidays, and the new year are not that prevalent.
So I think the first episode that will be coming out on the week. Tell you the schedule right now. No, it's not the week of the 1st, because the week of the 1st would be the week of the 4th. The week of the 8th of January. Because the way the month falls, we're gonna have Anthony Lapardo and Ray Martier from Moondooth in Westfall Recording. And then on the 15th, we're going to have Roger Joseph Manning Jr.
Jelly
show from Jellyfish Beck, Jay-Z, Johnny Cash. He's played with a ton of people.
Great.
And then on the 22nd, we will have the mighty Tim Halley from Fit for an Autopsy.
Great interview.
The interview was amazing. Went for almost 2 hours. If you don't know anything about Tim, other than being the guitar player in Fit for an Autopsy, Tim is probably one of the kindest human beings. I just recently met him and we've become fast friends, it seems. And he literally is probably one of the best marketing branding guys you'll ever meet. He does that as his thing outside of Fit, and really drops some pearls of wisdom, and just super nice guy.
A lot of good nuggets. It's cool because we talk to a lot of guests that are pretty much, they've made it. They put in their time. They've, especially with the old traditional model that is touring. Tim is a perfect example of that as well. Touring musician, rock star, but goes out but beyond what he does in a band. And he's basically a brander. He does branding, and for a leather manufacturer that makes, and he loves motorcycles, so it fits perfectly with his personality. Yeah, and that's really cool. When we always talk about like Chef Brian Sal, like it's kind of opposite. He's a chef full time, but he does music on the side, and he like brands himself really well. And then you have Tim, who's like a full time musician, and then he does at the same time he has his marketing company, and he does branding and marketing for that leather manufacturer and himself, and he does an exquisite job. And his pearls of wisdom will be of value to you guys because when it comes to building a following on certain platforms like Instagram, it's not easy. It is easy, actually. It's easy when you understand it, but to put forth the time to do it every day, that's another thing that is needed in the cog, let's just say, of the ecosystem that is going to be pushing your brand forward. And I guess I'm going to leave you with that. That was the last person we interviewed. We have more up on deck, and they're great interviews. They're people that are doing it as well in the industry. And we look forward to presenting you guys with this year with some serious value. And, don't be afraid to connect with us. Reach out to us. What can we answer for you? Topics that you are maybe you have questions about. Let's hear it. And go to themusiccombine.com. The Music Combine now on YouTube, or the Music Combine on Instagram. Follow us, DM us. We'll take your questions. We'll include them on the show when we actually we get on air, and we appreciate all the support.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week for Roadie Roundtable and for State of the Union on the 3rd. For Sunday next week. Have a great week, guys. Stay strong.
Peace out.